Welcome to Tuesday Night Rotor Talk Live, Season 2, Episode 8. How is everyone doing this evening? We have two incredible people on the show tonight. You're going to meet the Bucket List Boys, meet Tuesday Night Rotor Talk Live. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Bill, and Bill's going to pass it on to Ron, and then we're going to go ahead and get started.
Hello. I don't know. I can't be talking. Maybe you're presented. I don't know. I'm presenting myself. Cool. Hello, everybody. Yes, as Bill said, I'm joining him tonight, and we'll talk about some interesting stuff. He's got a really interesting subject he wants to talk about tonight, and whatever you all throw at us in the chat. And with that being said, Ron, it's off to you.
Hello. Thank you, Bill Thomas, for that great introduction. And thanks to Bill H. for having me on the show again tonight. And I promise I won't bring the bad luck I brought last week and have the show ended by a police raid. But so I'm glad to be here tonight. We got some great content for you tonight. We're going to, a few topics we're going to bring up. And with that note, I'll pass it back to Bill H. to get this ball rolling tonight.
Sounds good, Ron. Yeah, well, we promise as much as possible. No, you're not going to see any sheriff's deputies walking behind me tonight. Maybe Valerie, but that'll be, and my dog might come in, but that's going to be about it. We're not going there again. So, but anyway, I'm sure you all have heard, and I'm going to go ahead and get this article up so you guys can go ahead and see this here. Let me get that screen up here. All right.
Well, I've been manually switching your screens. It's not auto switching.
Okay.
So maybe it's something on your end, so I can't do anything for it.
Yeah, I don't know why. It should be. I haven't messed with that setting. So, okay. You can see drone searching for missing dog shot out of sky, and I'm just going to touch on this article real briefly here, and then we're going to talk about this. Mavic 2 Zoom shot out of the sky with a shotgun. As the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom was flying over his house, the 26-year-old Jared Chastain allegedly got his shotgun and shot the drone out of the sky, according to police. The Long Island man fired off 3 shots at the drone and was flying around the neighborhood in search of a missing dog. I'm going to go down to the bottom here. It's a federal offense to shoot down drones. This was confirmed not too long ago by the FAA. Shooting down a drone or unmanned aircraft is a federal crime under 18 U.S.C. S32 and punishable with up to 20 years in jail. And I'm not going to go ahead and read that. There's going to be a link in the article, and I'm sure you guys have all heard about that. And I want to start this off with Bill and Ron and their takes on it, and then I'll give you my takes. So what do you think about this, Bill?
I'm actually, and well, I don't know, it's still not, like I said, hey, Dan, look at this. You see I'm talking? It's just not switching. I'm not doing anything to it. But anyway, so I just clicked on mine. Ron, so just click on yours when you want to talk.
Okay.
So I'm just happy. I hate that the guy lost his drone, and I hope that he has to pay to replace it. But I'm glad that the law enforcement is actually prosecuting somebody for shooting down a drone and saying, you just because you think it's there and you want to whip out your shotgun and start firing away, it's not okay. And so from my point of view, I think it's a good thing that they're prosecuting him. I still feel like that we need to educate people better, to understand that drones aren't bad things and you don't need to shoot at them and they're not going to be flying. Because they pretty much got to be like right outside somebody's window, like a foot away to even be looking at somebody clear enough to see inside. So I think that's a little bit crazy, thinking that something bad was going on. But I'm glad with the fact that he got in trouble for it. Ron?
Thank you, Bill. Can you click on my thing for me?
Yeah,
The computer's on the other side of the table.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a very interesting story. It came down from Drone DJ, I think, maybe Monday morning or sometime Monday. And just to recap the story real fast, I forget the location already, but this town had a group that searched for lost pets and animals. And they got somebody in the group who had I think it was a Mavic 2 Zoom. So he was helping assist them find the lost pet. And by the story, I don't think this is the first time. So they were looking for the dog in a ravine behind these houses. and the man shot the drone down, and he told the police that because it was buzzing over his house. But the drone owner showed the police his flight log, and his flight log showed that he did not fly over the man's house, that he flew over this ravine that was behind these houses. So, the man, it wasn't even right. And it's somebody else's story. I don't know if it was somebody that lived with the man that shot the drone down, or it was a neighbor said that the drone kept constantly buzzing over the house, and that enough was enough. It was making, this noise and so on, and he shot it down. As Bill Thomas said, the police came and they arrested or, wrote a ticket out for the man that shot the drone down because, that was illegal, where, necessarily flying the drone over the house maybe wasn't illegal, but he wasn't flying over the house anyway. So, and the person they interviewed that, actually admitted that they like dogs too, but they just didn't like the drones flying around. But here's my question. What if this had been a helicopter flying over the house looking for a lost person? Would they shoot the helicopter down because they were buzzing over the house and making a lot of noise? It's not really, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, planes fly over my house all the time. Do I have the right to go out and shoot a plane down because they constantly fly over my house? What separates the drone from these other aircrafts that fly over your house? And on that note, I'm going to throw it back to Bill H. to get his thoughts on this important matter.
My first thing was, and I think somebody else brought this up too, is, and I saw it, I think somebody from DJI said, when you shoot a bullet up in the air, and even shotguns, the law of gravity says that's going to come back down. All right. It's going to land somewhere, and it could hit somebody. And if let's say you used a rifle or a pistol to shoot that bullet's going to go somewhere. Okay. If it doesn't hit the drone, it's going to go somewhere, and it could hurt or maybe even kill somebody. So that's one of the things right away that kind of got to me. Number two, I mean, I'm not a gun expert. My son-in-law is. He has about maybe over 100 guns. But, a shotgun, you have to be in pretty close proximity for shotguns to be effective, is my understanding. I don't, like I said, I don't know a lot about this, but that drone probably wasn't flying very high, is my guess, especially if they're trying to look for a dog, because the higher, you gotta have that drone low when you're searching. Otherwise, you're not going to find that, even with the zoom. I mean, the zoom capabilities are great, and I think that probably helps, but that was one of my thoughts initially as well too. And the other thing is this federal statute, it was written in regards specifically for airplanes, but it says aircraft, and UAVs are considered aircraft, and that's been shown to fall under this law. So, that is applicable, and that guy's in a world of hurt. They could really, and I think, I think they're going to try to make a case of trying to really, go for it and prosecute him, is my take on it. Because, to not do that means, okay, it's open season. And I know last year I saw this article. It was a guy flying over a farm over in Ohio, an Inspire 2. Next thing you know, he hears boom, boom. And then his feed goes away from it, and then he ends up finding it. He uses his GPS. He finds it, and it's on this guy's property, and they exchanged words and stuff, and it got kind of ugly. And I think that case is going to court. He said, you can't fly over my property, and it was, he said, she said kind of stuff, and said, oh yeah, I remember the one thing. Apparently, he says, you were flying your Inspire 2 because my wife was outside getting a suntan, and she was in her bikini, and it was a cloudy day and raining. So yeah, there's the answer. There's the answer on that one. So I mean, it's just like, people will say whatever they want to say on stuff like this. But I think, Ron and Bill bring up some good points on this. They need to, not really, throw the maximum penalty at this guy, but to make it enough where other people don't follow suit and feel like, oh, okay, there's a drone buzzing my house, I'm going to get my revolver out and shoot the flipping thing out of the sky. We don't want that kind of stuff to happen, because, copycats will happen ad nauseum, and that's just something we don't want to go there. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was, I found online, and I'm going to go ahead and put this, share the screen here with that. The SanDisk unveils world fastest 1 terabyte micro SD card available for pre-order now. And I think the biggest thing that got me with this is the price on this. The price is SanDisk will be charging $449 for this, folks. I don't know about you, but there's not a lot of people that can afford a $449 SD card. Wanted to get Bill and Ron's thoughts on this, what you guys think about this. And, you know, and also too, you know, bear in mind that I know I did some research on the Mavic 2. The highest SD card that you can put in that is 128 gigs. So, Bill, what are your thoughts?
I'm telling you, that's what we have to do.
Bill H., you want me to take it?
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
My thoughts are, you know, this 1 terabyte, you know, micro SD card, you know, won't be pretty useless for drones for a couple years, maybe the Mavic 5 Pro. But I guess where it comes in for computer owners, imagine for your laptop, if you could back up 1 terabyte on an SD card and then stick it in your pocket and take it with you.
Yeah, that's a...
Like, say you're away on business or a vacation. You say I'm going to go to the vacation scenario. You're on vacation, right? You take all these beautiful videos and pictures with your cameras and your drones. So then you put you got to take the laptop through customs, and maybe something happens and the hard drive dies, you lose all your stuff. You got it all backed up in this teeny little one gigabyte SD card that's in your wallet.
That's fantastic. You know, that's a great point, Ron. You know, especially, you know, now, and you guys probably saw it with Samsung's S10 Plus, you can get a 1 terabyte version of that. So, and be able to plunk in, say, that SD card. And if you wanted to back up your entire phone on that, you could do that. But it's, you know, like Bill Thomas said earlier, said, yeah, in probably about 2 years, it'll probably be $19 and be able to go out there and get it.
Bill H., before you throw it back to Bill Thomas, what size memory cards do you use in most of your drones?
I use a 32 gigabyte one, Ron. In fact, the card that I use, this is a real interesting story. The card that I used was given to us while we were at the See the Bigger Picture event. And the reason they gave us those SD cards was we were going out, didn't know that we were headed out. We were gonna fly the Mavic 2 out in behind where the event was being held, and it was right over the river, which was fantastic. They unbelievably got permission from the city of New York and the borough of Brooklyn to be able to do that, which was fantastic. But that's the SD card that I've been using ever since then, and it's been flawless. And that's one of the things that I tell people is, you know, I did a video on the Mavic 2 and SD card, and one of the things is you need to check to see what DJI recommends, and you need to go with one of their recommendations because, you know, I've heard a lot of people having a lot of issues with SD cards in their Mavic 2s. And I tell them, I said, what kind are you using? And I said, have you seen the list that's recommended by DJI? And they said, no. And I said, that's not on the list. I said, you know, don't try to save a buck with this, because if that's something that you're trying to get back and you need to capture that video, especially, you know, if you're doing business or shooting an event or something, you need to use what DJI recommends. And also too, and a lot of people didn't do this. And I told them, I said, you need to format the SD card when it's in the drone. Don't format it on your laptop or Mac. You need to do it when it's in the drone. And a lot of people were just like, wow. And then we did that and then it worked. And I'm like, yeah, you know, but the one thing that a lot of people got, it's nice. It's a fallback on there. And one of the features of the Mavic 2 I really like is that it has that 8 gigabyte of internal storage in there. So if you happen to forget your SD card, you know, all is not lost. You have at least 8 gig of storage in there. So Bill, what do you think about this SD card?
I'm still clicking the cameras back and forth.
Okay, here, I got you.
Honestly, like I was telling you earlier, I don't see a reason for me to get a bigger card than the one I ordered from DJI when I first got the Mavic 2. Because I think I got it when they had it on sale for like $90 or something. Excuse me. So, I mean, I'd love to have this humongous card, but that price I could spend on Spark 2 or Spark Pro, in my opinion. So with that being said, I will wait until the price either goes down or until they make a 4 terabyte and automatically the 1 terabyte goes down. So I'm going to wait a couple years.
Bill, what size card do you use in your Mavic 2 Pro?
What is it, the 256 that they sold or whatever? What was the one that they came out that they were coming out with a little bit before the 2? Wasn't it the 256 high speed or whatever?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Whatever the one that they really baited me into buying, I took
Right.
it and bought.
Right. I mean, I use 64 gigabyte cards in I think all my DJI drones. Maybe I still have a 32 in a Spark.
Mm.
You know, one of the reasons I was using the 32 was I think it was just a tad bit faster than the other one. I had a 64. But I looked at the speed, and the speed on the 32 was faster than the speed on the 64. So that's why I ended up using that. So that's just for me. That's just one of the things that I've gotten used to. Ron had a great idea, and this is one thing I think we're going to go ahead and bring this segment up here. And I'm going to let Ron start off with this. Okay, we all talk about, what's coming out this year with DJI, what 2019 is going to bring for them. And, the year is young. We got a lot coming on. We saw the Smart Controller come out. But what one drone is a must-have, not for you, but for DJI, that's important to them from a business standpoint? And I'm going to throw this to Ron first and get his take on that.
Hi. Yes, we talked about this before the show, and this is, kind of a Ask Bill segment here, but, we're going to give it to all of us.
Wait. I gotta interrupt you just for
go
one.
Ahead. Go ahead. Take it, Bill.
Mitch, is it changing now? No, it worked for, okay. He said he's brought up about it being, is it pinned on somebody's? Ron, is yours pinned, or Bill, you got one pinned?
Looking, I don't see it pinned. I'm looking for that pin. I don't see it.
It's moving around when I'm looking at it now. It's on Bill H.
Okay, but see, when I talk, I don't come up on screen, right?
You come up on mine. Yes, you do. You came right up on mine, Bill T.
That's weird because I don't see me on mine. Okay, as long as you all, because I still see you, Ron. And then when Bill talks, I see Bill.
Yeah, I see Bill H talk. I see you on the live screen. Okay, but it's not going back to me now, right?
You're on my screen. It's just you. Say something, Bill.
Bill H, who are you seeing?
Say something. No, I'm seeing you right now, Ron.
Okay.
Do you see me at all, Bill?
I see in the little one.
Yeah.
So it's stuck on me, huh?
Now I moved it to you. I just manually clicked on you.
On Bill, it's on. I'm seeing you, Bill H, now.
Okay. That's weird. That is just weird.
I have no idea what it is. Anyway. Back to Ron.
Okay. All right. Click back on me, somebody. I'm not near my computer.
Go, Ron.
Okay. Bill's question was, and this is an important question. We all want DJI to release all these drones this year. Everybody wants a Phantom 5, and everybody wants an Aspire 3. And a lot of people want a Spark 2 or Spark Pro, but what is the drone that DJI needs to release most this year to satisfy the customer base? What drone can they not let go unreleased until, we'll say, Christmas of 2019? They have to get this out by this summer. And I know a lot of people are going to say the Phantom 5, and maybe they're right, but I'm going to go with the Spark 2 or the Spark Pro. We talked a little bit about this for the show. There's a lot of low, under $500 drones entering the market now. There's 2 Phoebe drones, which we discussed this week. There's a Xeno that I have. It's under 400, and there's other things on the horizon coming out that have 2 or 3 axis gimbals and 4K videos, and a lot of the specs that the DJI drones like the Spark and say the Mavic Air have, and they're nipping away at that bottom end of the market. So they really need to get a strong performer in there because mean, the Spark holds up well, even though it's, I guess 2 years old now. It still competes well with these new entries in the market. It just doesn't have the 4K and the 3-axis gimbal. But as far as flying and many of the other things, it's better than what's being released now. But it definitely needs a refresh. And I feel a lot like Apple. They can kind of like hold off and not release all their pro level, their pro desktops and pro laptops. They can let them sort of go for a couple years, but they got to keep coming out with the new iPhones every year and new iPads and the consumer based laptops, not the pro laptops. And I feel that's the same way with DJI. They got to get that Spark 2 or Spark Pro out by we'll say by the first of summer to not lose a lot of market share in that category. And I'm going to throw it to Bill Thomas to see what he thinks on this subject.
Well, I was noticing, I wanted to holler out in the chat. I can see, let's see, Lou Dennard. I can see Thomas O'Sullivan, Steve Carpenter, Mel's in the house, Lon, Gutsy Gear, Peter. I don't want to butcher your last name, Demestre, Cole Somerville, Harry Barbosa. Howdy, 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 everybody. If I didn't get to your name, we'll try to get you in the next little bit. I noticed that Rick Halber said that Billy Kyle was thinking Spark 2. The only reason he's thinking Spark 2 is because I've been talking about it for a while. That was the first one I've been calling for months and months and months and months and months. I just had a feeling because, like Ron was saying, you got too many drones that are attacking that price range because, Spark is a really economical drone. It's portable. It's small. You can do quick little stops and fly for it with it and charge on the go. Excuse me, and get out and fly again. That's why I really think that DJI is, if they let somebody get a foothold at the bottom of their food chain, that they'll start eating their way up. And I think DJI is too smart to let that happen, and they're just going to squash whatever comes in there. Do I think it's that Mavic More thing? I don't know what that thing is. It just scares me looking at it. It's interesting, but it's scary. So maybe they can get it to work. It looks like one of those, what is it, land speeder things, the way the front locales come out. But I'm thinking Spark Pro. And with that, I will go back to Bill H.
Thank you, Bill. I'm in agreement with both Ron and Bill here. The Spark is a great seller for them. I mean, and you look at the price point where it's at, and it does have awful lot of competition right now. But one of the things that you need to remember here is, and Ron brought up a good point about Apple. They can let the MacBook go for a couple of years or a couple of cycles and other things, but they need to keep refreshing that iPhone every year. They need to come out with something new. And in fact, I just saw today in the news, they already have a folding iPhone in the works. So, you constantly need to do that to reinvent themselves. Samsung just did that with coming out with the Fold and then coming out with his S10 Plus with the 3 cameras. They're bringing stuff they're bringing cutting edge technology. They're not resting on their previous successes. They're moving forward, which is a good thing. And I think that's something that DJI is going to do here. And I think, and Bill brought up a good point. A lot of people says, oh, they're going to put OcuSync in it. No, I agree with Bill. They're not, because OcuSync really raises the cost of that Spark up, and they don't want to do that, number one. And number two, it has to be it has to have a bigger footprint physically on the drone. I know Rick Smith from Drone Valley talked about that the way the boards are designed, it has to have a bigger footprint, so it won't fit in a Spark right now, the way the technology is. And, keeping that cost down is paramount. And, yeah, you will see a Spark Pro. And, yeah, with Ron, I agree. It will probably come out sometime before summer. When it came out originally with a Spark was right at the end of May in 2017. And, it took off, as far as sales were concerned. And, that one of the groups that I admin on Facebook, it's over 2,400 people, and it's growing, every day. And I know, other groups are like that as well with the Spark. It's just, it's at a great price point, and it really brings a lot of people into the drone fold. I mean, really.
Bill H, I have a question, and
Yes.
you know, probably it's not nobody has a real answer, but what is DJI's best-selling model ever? And the Phantom, I don't mean the Phantom, all the Phantoms. I mean, like you got the segment Phantom 3, Phantom 4, divide them up. But I mean, where does the Spark rank against the best-selling DJI model? Again, and you know, and you can't put all the fans together, all the Mavics together. You have to just pick one particular model of the other ones.
That's a great question, Ron. You know, I did see Sally French, the drone girl, who has been, I'm going to probably get her back on the show as a guest. I absolutely loved having her on. She had an article out that, you know, number one, DJI does not publish their sales figures. So individual sales, you can't really tell what they do. But a good bellwether was drones that were registered with, and I'm trying to remember the name. It's a real Kitty Hawk. Okay. Drones that were registered with Kitty Hawk. The number one drone that was registered with Kitty Hawk for a 2-year period was the Mavic Pro. Coming in very shortly after that, the Spark was right up there. I believe it was either number 2 or number 3. So, you know, that's the only way to kind of tell because they don't publish those figures and what the numbers are. We don't know for sure, but based on drone registrations, as far as that's concerned, that's what's showing up. The Mavic Pro is the first, and then the Spark is either number 2 or number 3. It's not very far behind. And I mean, it was like you had to go down to like number 6 or 7 to find a non-DJI product on that list, which was very interesting. Unique was on the list. I think Parrot was on the list, but they were down at the bottom. They were very, very low as far as that's concerned. But that's a great question, Ron.
The only Apple doesn't release a lot of their sales figures in their particular products too, so it's kind of the same thing.
You know,
as far as not reporting.
Yeah, you just have to go with whatever, you know, with something like that. I mean, that's the only stat that I've ever seen on something like that. But I can tell you this, as far as the groups that I admin a Mavic 2 group, I admin a Spark group, and by far and away, the Spark group, I have almost 700 or 800 more members in the Spark group than I do in the Mavic 2 group. However, a group that's catching up real fast is the Mavic Air group that I have. They're only about maybe 200 or 300 behind the Mavic 2 group, so they're getting numbers daily too. I mean, you know, that's something. And I know Bill picks his bones about the Mavic Air. I do too. There's just so many things about that, you know, it's a love-hate relationship with me. And I know Bill feels the same way about that too. But, you know, that's catching up. People still like that drone. People still buy that drone. I know that's the drone Art's on tonight. Welcome, Art. You know, I know that's the drone that we got him and that he's enjoying. You know, but, you know, the big thing for me, it's as loud as a hornet's nest. I mean, it tells the whole neighborhood. When I took off, the whole neighborhood knew that a drone was up in the air. I mean, it wasn't just 1 or 2 houses. It was down the block. They knew because they could hear it. I mean, it was just so loud, you know, as far as that's concerned. So,
Bill, you're lucky somebody didn't shoot it down, huh?
Yeah, really. And it's real funny because over on the other side of the development, it's now been sold and they're developing houses on it, but kids would ride dirt bikes on that property. There was a big pond over there. And then at night, they would shoot guns into a big hillside over there. So, yeah. And somebody had a stray bullet come through their window once, too, in the development.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Hey, Bill, I don't know where you want to go with the show, but now that we've all decided Spark is the drone that's that DJI most needs to release this year, what is the number one feature that this Spark needs to have that the old one didn't have?
Oh, excellent question, Ron.
Can I jump in? Can I interject just 1 second?
Yes, you can.
Bill H, go for it.
Okay. I just wanted to. We're in fanboy mode again. Just to call it out there. There's a few people in the chat there like, you know, you all are in fanboy mode again. You know, because we do dwell on DJI a lot. So Dan was like I know, and I was like, and then so they pointed out, they were like, well, what other drones do you want to talk about? And like, you know, there's usually, because we always, you know, I don't know, but that's what they were trying to say, was that we were we were dwelling on DJI again. And then when I said, well, he was welcome to come on and introduce us to other drones and stuff, and he was like, oh no, I'm just trying to. So I don't know what else to do. I just wanted to tell you that we were actually in that direction. But so what do we think the Spark needs? And either Bill or Ron. Bill, I'm going to unhighlight myself, and it looks like it bounces back to Ron. So check and see if there's like a white border around Ron on yours.
Yeah, see, I don't have that white border on any of them right now.
Okay, so
let me go close to my computer and see if I can see a white border.
Other than that, either that or give camera control to everybody in the room.
I don't have a white border.
Yeah, there's no white borders on any of them here, so
it's just peculiar.
Yeah, I don't know. I checked the settings and camera settings were fine, so I don't know what's going on.
I hope it's not the police outside Bill's house messing with his internet.
We're just talking about the drone incident and the drone being shot.
Right? They heard us. Yeah, they're mad again.
I'm just supposed to be the voice in the background or the voice from above. Hello, do you hear me speaking?
Actually, we spoke well to the police this time, having them arrest the guy that shot the drone out of the sky. So we gave them their props this time.
Okay, why don't you do your what we were talking about doing tomorrow night? You could do it tonight, and that way we'd be talking about other drones.
That's a great idea. Mel said, "Can I explain what is about the cameras, please?" I'm like, Bill T, I can explain it to you. So go ahead, Mel. Drop it in the chat and let us know what's going on with that. Ron, and go ahead and talk about the next feature that Bill had mentioned earlier.
I'm sorry, I'm all out of sync here. What feature do I want to talk about?
What new feature do you need to have on the Spark the new Spark Pro?
Okay. Sorry, I lost a little focus here.
No.
We were getting back to this since we all decided that the Spark 2 or Spark Pro needs to come out this summer. What feature does it need that the old Spark didn't have that everybody wanted? And for me personally, and I'm trying to think what I want and what I think most people want. I think most people are going to say the 4K, but I'm going to say more battery life. I'll throw it to Bill Thomas. Oh, sorry. I take that back. I throw it to Bill H. Cool. Bill Thomas is working on a stake.
Well, I'm going to kind of follow the lead of Ron. A lot of people are going to say the 4K. I think what they need to do is they need to redesign where the battery is placed, because there were so many people that lost their Spark because it fell out of just got disconnected, and bye-bye battery, bye-bye Spark, and it just ended. So I think they need to redo the placement of the battery on the Spark. I think that's probably far and away, the number one thing I think they need to do with it right now this year. Obviously the 4K, but that's kind of like a foregone conclusion. And I agree with Ron with what he said as well too. As far as it's just they need you need thinking outside the box as far as the 4K is concerned. They need to do those things, and they need to make sure that they do it. And if they do it right, it's just going to continue to be a gravy train for them, and just sell like hotcakes. I mean, really, Bill, if you're ready, I'll let you interject.
Well, okay. So Mel, I think I noticed that Dan was talking in the chat, Drone Worship, and he was saying a 3-axis gimbal. I think it's going to be a combination of all the things that you all are talking about. I honestly don't think that the Mavic Air was intended to be anything more than the Spark 2, but it kind of evolved into this thing that they made into the Mavic Air. So I just got this epiphany that maybe we'll get the Spark Air as the new model of melding the two. And I think we're going to get, and that's why I think that we are going to get a Phantom 5 either at the end of this year or the first of next year. They're going to give us the capabilities that are just underneath the Mavic Pro, but with the old camera that was, you know, that the Spark already had a 4K camera. So in my opinion, it's going to be a 3-axis gimbal. I don't think they're going to redo the battery. I think you're going to get a longer life and 4K at, you know, 30 frames a second. And I think that you'll have the 1080 at 120 like the Air has. And it's going to be the reason it's going to be so huge is it's going to be like $400 with the controller, in my opinion.
If that's the case, Bill, then it's gonna you know, empty the shelves. You know, having a price point like that was just, you know, and that's what drew people in the first place. Was it was DJI's, you know, it was a price leader for them. It was a calling card. It reached out to a lot of people who could never, you know, afford a Phantom before, or, you know, the Mavic Pro for that matter, and say, wow, look at this. This is under $1,000. This is something that's doable. It's something that I can get. And, you know, unlike the old days, you know, it has everything on it. It's good to go. You know, it has a remote control with it and everything. And, you know, it was great. I mean, it was, you know, when it came out, and still it's a great price leader for DJI. It really, it brings them in. I hope you guys want to tune in tomorrow night to the Bucket List Boys at 8:30 p.m. I posted a link in the description. You guys need to check us out at 8:30 tomorrow night Eastern time. You know, we have a lot of fun. You probably saw, if you had a chance to go back and see the episode with Kelly Shores, we just had an absolute blast talking to him that night. It was great. Definitely you want to check that out. You know, we did the Feeney Boys last week. We had Brian Singleton on. Brian is fantastic. He knows drones backwards, forwards, sideways. Plus, he's a Pittsburgher. Brian, that makes you top dog in my book. Okay, as far as that's concerned. And you know,
sounds like a chain.
It sounds like a chain. Yeah, we're a chain. We're kind of all.
No, man, we can start. Let's go get a Pittsburgher.
Let's go get a Pittsburgher. That's a good one. So what are we going to talk about tomorrow night, Bill?
Basically what we've been talking. Oh, wait. Hang on. Now see, I'm still talking. And now if Ron talks, it goes to Ron. But if I talk, it doesn't go to me. See, that's proof that I'm not hosting. See, because I'm talking and it's not showing me. What we're going to be talking about tomorrow night was just kind of basically who are the Bucket List Boys. So basically we'll give you a brief introduction of how and why we started our channels. And then the rest of the chat is just like kind of going on tonight. We're just going to stare at the chat and call out people's names and talk only about what you all bring up in the chat. So if you all in the chat bring up just DJI drones, then I guess we'll have to talk about DJI drones. But if you bring up other drones, then we'll talk about them too. And Ron has a segment that he had discussed last week that we're going to bring back and, you know, keep kind of do as a weekly thing now. And he has 2 drones for us tomorrow night. And I'm sure I can probably scrounge up one myself. And I think Bill might be able to too. So with that being said, please join us tomorrow night at 8:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 Pacific for the Bucket List Boys on drone therapy. And with that back, I will switch it back to Bill and he can decide where we're going from there.
Well, one of the things you guys probably saw, and I did a condensed version of my interview with Gail on Sunday. And I'll tell you what, Gail was probably one of the best people that I've ever had on the show, and no indifference. And I've had great people on. You know, I've had Kelly on before. I've had Rick Smith on. I've had Sally French on. I've had a lot of great people on the show. But as far as the interview was concerned, finding out from her what life is like for her as a drone journalist is incredible. You know, some of the things that she mentioned, she carries 45 batteries with her. Okay. Her guide, he carries a bag with 45 batteries because she mentioned that she can be on a location, get through a checkpoint. She may never be able to get through that checkpoint again. She needs to have access to that power, and it's going to be remote. She also mentioned that a lot of times she'll tap into the military that's there and see if she needs batteries charged, that they'll let her charge the batteries. You know, some of the other interesting things that I found out, I won't spoil all of it for you and suggest you guys watch it. A lot of the time she flies in ADI mode with her Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 because a lot of times they don't get GPS signal, especially, you know, she was in the battlefield, and, you know, there's a lot of signal interference out there. There's a lot of things going on, and you have to be an incredible pilot to fly in ADI mode. And I know both Ron and Bill will agree with me. I know Kelly Shore says you need to learn on like a SEMA X5C. You know, learn how to control a drone like that. And I agree with Kelly. I think that's, you know, it's difficult, but if you can master that, you can handle anything else. And you need to do that. And one of the other things that she mentioned, one of her other favorite drones that she uses is the Parrot Anafi. And the reason that she uses the Anafi is it has that 180-degree rotating camera. She can get shots upward of things because a lot of times she says she flies under things to be able to capture that. So it's very interesting, the combination of drones that she uses. And one of the other things that she mentioned last week was she said that she doesn't like, I mean, she likes the Mavic 2 and the Mavic Pro series. She likes that. But foldable drones are a detriment to her because the areas and the environments that she's in, my dog's in the picture right now. The area and the environments that she's in, there's a lot of dust, dirt, grime, debris. Things get in there, and, you know, those arms fold and they bend, you know, get it into shape. So, you know, drones like a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, ones that are all set, you know, she prefers those type of drones because, you know, there's less chance for those kind of things to get in. So if you guys get a chance, go out there and watch that. She left Monday morning, heading to, I believe, Africa again. You know, she doesn't let grass grow under her feet. And I'm definitely going to have her back on because it was very well received. I know I got a lot of great comments. People just absolutely loved her. And once I got over my technical hurdles, you know, I sent her the Google Hangouts link, but she already had talked to me via Google Hangouts, so she did that. So that's why you heard her over my loudspeakers, but I didn't have her on the stream. So that was kind of frustrating, and finding out like, oh yeah. So that's the reason I decided to go ahead and edit that. It was like an hour and a half. I cut it down to about 55 minutes to make it more digestible so you guys can watch it at one sitting. But definitely go check that out. It was like I said, it was a great time to be had with her. I want to announce I have someone from DJI. I can't tell you who, but I have a director from DJI that I'm going to be having on the show sometime in the next few weeks. His schedule's very busy right now, and he's going to get back to me, but he's definitely going to be on the show. That's not going to be one you're going to want to miss. And we're not going to be talking about Phantom 5 or Inspire 3 or Spark Pro, but we're going to be talking about some other things regarding drones. So, and I don't want to spoil it, but I think that's something, you know, definitely one of those ones you're going to want to see. He's fantastic, and I really, really like him there.
I think I better not in chat that night, then.
hey, Bill, before we go, can I give a special shout out? Floyd Moats is in the chat room tonight, and he just reached 100 subscribers just the other day over the weekend. So I want everybody to applaud Floyd Moats on reaching his 100 subscribers on YouTube. Floyd.
I'm clapping, Floyd. I'm clapping. Good
Absolutely.
job.
That's always a good thing. And, you know, Bill talks a lot about this, and this is one thing too. You know, I'm going to pass around to the guys and we'll do our closings here. But one of the things, support other drone channels. You know, we're all together in this. You know, I know universally, I think, you know, all of you will agree that, you know, with what that happened out on, you know, out in New York, as far as the drone getting shot down, you know, that's just bad news. And we don't want to see that. And we love our sport. We love our hobby. We love our profession. You know, if we're using this commercially, you know, we love flying drones, all of us. That's why we're here. And let's support other channels. You know, that's the only way that we can get out this great message about drones for good. And you may see that I try to use that hashtag an awful lot, you know, in my videos, because that's what it's for. It's all about drones for good. And I think that's the message we want to get across to everybody. With that, I'm going to kick it to Ron. Ron will kick it to Bill, and then I'll close here.
Thanks, Bill H. I jumped in there with my final thought. I didn't know if you were going to close that about Floyd reaches 100 subscribers. But I just want to thank you again for having me on the show again tonight. I'm glad things went smoother than my last appearance on the show tonight. And I want to thank everybody. We had a good crowd in the chat room tonight. Everybody's been very good in there, made a lot of great comments. And tomorrow night I'll give you a little teaser. We're going to do our kind of retro Wednesday quad segment again, but I'm actually going to show a new quad too. And I'm going to show my first drone I received as part of the new drone exchange program. I will debut it tomorrow night on the show. So on that note, I'll throw it back to Bill Thomas.
What's up, guys? And we're glad to have had everybody tonight. And I'm going to probably be able to actually finish my dinner here, because I think that Bill called me and Ron last minute and was like, hey, come on, let's all get on together. And I was like, okay, but I might have to eat while we're on. But like I said, I had a blast. Hopefully we won't talk about quite so much DJI tomorrow night. Maybe we'll talk about some race drones and some FPV and all kinds of different stuff. Just depends on whatever you all bring up. So please be sure to join us tomorrow night for Drone Therapy, the Bucket List Boys, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific.
Don't miss it.
Absolutely. And thank you, Ron. Thank you, Bill. Thank you guys for showing up in a pinch. And I had a lot of fun tonight. I think this was great. If you guys if you want to see these guys more often, let me know in the chat and in the comments. No police tonight, so that's a good thing. The show was not interrupted. I got my big old puppy in here with me, so that's always a good thing. So had a good time tonight. Thanks everybody for showing up. We appreciate that. Mel, thanks for the advice about the Google Hangouts and all that. Appreciate that as well too. Definitely show up tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific for Bucket List Boys Drone Therapy. Don't want to miss it. We have a lot of fun on that show, and want to just thank everybody again. Had a wonderful evening, and remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.